Hello everyone, today I want to compare the patch 3.0 limited banner characters Tighnari, Zhongli, Ganyu and Kokomi in terms of 1. Combat, meaning if and how essential they are to strong team compositions, and 2. Accessibility, meaning how flexible they are when it comes to builds and teams overall. Aside from this, I also give you a quick impression on their gameplay for you to see if they fit your preference. To start us off, we'll have a short rundown of each character individually, and towards the end I'll get to which ones are worth your wishes. In other words, I'll organize them from best to worst according to my own subjective opinion. First, we have the new character Tighnari, who also is the first Dendro character, which admittedly makes this a little tough. It seems like he will be a main DPS in kind of a quick swap style team, meaning he doesn't have off-field damage to qualify him as a sub DPS, and he only has limited field time like Raiden or Child for example. You will press his elemental skill and burst skill, follow up with 3 charged attacks, and you are pretty much done on this character. In terms of teams, Tighnari seems to be a character who's reliant on elemental reactions. Likely this will result in a Burn or Burgeon build with a character like Zhongli and a Hydro sub DPS character like Yelan or Jingzhou. Alternatively, you can try to make a quicken build work with any Electro sub DPS to trigger Aggravate or Spread. In general, I feel like Tighnari might have problems with high Dendro application, which makes it hard for him to finish the elemental reactions and get value of his elemental mastery self buff and scaling. Again, it's hard to predict if this character will be good and how he's going to be used. As for the build, he has some nice options. For weapons, both the Inazuma and Sumeru craftable bows seem like good choices for different reasons. Same for artifacts, you can go with the obvious choice like the Wanderer's Troop set to increase his charge attack damage, or you can aim for a more balanced build. For example, both of the new sets from Sumeru are good, or a 2-piece Noblesse set combo with anything else providing extra stats. Next we have Zhongli. He's super versatile with some decent burst damage and resistant shred to any element including Dendro, which makes his value go up substantially in this upcoming patch. On top of that, he also provides a big shield which kind of makes him viable as a replacement for a healer. He isn't super exciting. As a Geo character, there's no synergy in terms of elemental reactions. You press your 2 skills and it will always feel the same. This passive gameplay is great in casual play though. Doing your daily chores, farming artifacts etc. without having to pay attention to the game can be a positive. In terms of teams, Zhongli also has some more specific options where he does some unique and valuable contribution to your overall damage in endgame content. The obvious one is he is great to activate Geo Resonance for different characters like Ningguang or Zhao, or potentially even future Dendro characters in a spread team. Aside from that, he also has some value in physical teams with Eula for example, or some people like to play him in a Hu Tao team. As for the build, Zhongli doesn't require too much investment. For the weapon, you can even get away with something like a White Tassel to get a decent crit chance to make his burst skill a little more consistent as his only source of notable damage. The artifacts don't need to be incredibly high quality for him to perform well, but you need to go to some kind of niche domains for a Millilith or even Archaic Petra set. Next we have Ganyu. This one is a classic main DPS or carry, meaning you can give her as much field time as you feel like. Her consistent damage is one of the highest in the game and you don't even need to work really hard for it. She is pretty simple to play, but in terms of play style, she is very hit or miss. You will spend a lot of time doing level 2 charged attacks. If you don't like that, you won't have fun playing this character. One thing I want to make very clear though is she can be very impactful in Abyss, assuming you are struggling with hitting a certain amount of stars. In terms of teams, Ganyu is part of one of the most iconic ones in Genshin Impact, the Morgana Freeze team, Mona, Ganyu, Diona. This team is very safe and can even set up a short window of high burst damage during Mona's burst skill. Aside from that, she can also be played in a melt team with a Zhongli, usually called the Melt Shot team, which can easily set up 6-digit damage on her blooms. Ironically enough, Ganyu teams can also easily involve the previous character Zhongli and the next character Kokomi. As for the build, she is all about charged attack damage. So for weapons, the Inazuma weapon is a nice craftable option, and if you manage to get your hands on an Amos bow, her damage goes through the roof. Since the delay on her bloom counts towards the effect of that weapon, which essentially means it's always maxed out. As for the artifacts, it's straightforward: Blizzard Strayer for the Priest team, Wanderer's Troop for the Melt team. Next we have Kokomi, the only 5-star character I don't have, so I don't have first-hand experience playing her. To me it seems like she has good off-field Hydro application on her elemental skill, and she can wear the thrilling tails of the Dragon Slayers to provide the extra attack buff. This usually forces her into the support role in the healer slot, but some people seem to use her in a more active and aggressive way with her elemental burst skill. Though I'm not really sure how viable that actually is, since she is a little handicapped by her inability to deal critical hits. If you're looking at an artifact, for example a Hydro Cup, it kind of feels weird once you try to figure out for ideal substats while crit and crit damage is excluded. You probably have to include something like flat HP. In terms of teams, Kokomi is pretty commonly used in an Ayaka or Ganyu freeze team, which also involves Shenhe and Kazuha. I think this is actually a really strong team. You might think a character like this doesn't seem very impressive by themselves, but despite that, she actually has a place in the meta. Aside from this, Dendro also has some synergy with Hydro, so there might be some potential to include Kokomi there. For example, Kokomi, Tighnari, Zhongli, and Zhongling. It's probably not a coincidence that all these banners are up right now. As for the build, I think it's pretty straightforward. You just want to give her some additional utility with extra attack buffs. So for the weapon, it's the thrilling tails of the Dragon Slayers, and the artifact set is the tenacity of the Millilith. Alright, that covers all the characters, and if you want my recommendation, Zhongli seems to be a really solid and safe choice. So far he was part of some great Ganyu or Hutao teams, but he isn't really essential to them. Now his value for endgame went up with the introduction of Dendro characters though. He is nice for casual play as well, so for this patch I give the highest priority to him. After that, it's Ganyu. Her playstyle needs time to get used to, and some people might just never get to like it, which is the main reason why I don't like to recommend this character. That being said, she might be the best option for you if your goal is to push deeper into Abyss. She is meta-defining in some really strong team compositions like Morgana and Melchot Ganyu. For this, I believe she is your second best option and very close to Zhongli, who would have fallen behind her before Sumeru's release. Next is Tighnari. I mainly put him here since it's kind of hard for me to judge his performance before patch 3.0 is released, and even then it will take some time to get him on high investment. To be fair though, it's kind of hard to compete with the two characters I placed above him, so I think this might just be the place where he belongs. And last we have Kokomi. Like I said, she has a place in the meta, but it's very niche and she can easily be replaced by Barbara in a freeze team. I don't see her adding anything unique to the table. To me personally, it feels like some type of utility is missing in her skill kit to make up for the sacrifice which is making her unable to crit. If you aren't sold on this character by her personality or aesthetics, you might just want to skip her. There you have it. I think it's Zhongli over Ganyu over Kokomi. As for Tighnari, I assume he will fit in right between Ganyu and Kokomi. There's one more thing to consider though. It is said that Tighnari will be available in the standard banner pool in patch 3.1 and onwards. I'm not sure if that actually means that you can only get him on the actual standard banner, which honestly doesn't matter since you barely pull on there anyway, or if that means that you can lose the 50-50 to him on the limited banners in the future. That would be a big deal, so much so that I would recommend to skip him if this is true. Alright, we made it to the end. I hope this helped you decide on which banner to wish. Let me know in the comments. I'm especially curious about your opinion on the Tighnari situation. I personally will get him, and I also try my luck on the Kokomi banner to kind of fill out the Pokédex. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos. Until then, have fun and bye bye.